So, Venus, the goddess of peace, the planet that represents friendship, kindness, beauty, love, money. She's moving into the sign of Scorpio on the 23rd of September through to the 17th of October. And through her journey, she's doing some very, very interesting things. It's up to her to make the sky happen, I swear. And even though she's in detriment in a sign that belongs to Mars, she's going to create a beautiful water trine, a grand water trine in our sky. She's going to make a flow aspect to Pluto, the god of the underworld, finishing his last stay in Capricorn. And I do enjoy the fact that she's going to trine Mars, which makes for a little bit of sexy time coming up in October as she journeys through the waters of Scorpio. If you're into this kind of thing and want to know how Venus moving through the sign of Scorpio will help you in your life, then stay tuned. We're going to cover your sign. Listen today for your sun, which is to do with your career purpose matters. Your moon can be about your body, home, and your emotional state, but the rising sign quite often is most accurate, and it is all about you. And in our look through the sky today, we'll briefly mention a bit about the world astrology, what it might mean for Venus and Scorpio. Well, we are, first of all, in an election season, but also knowing that she's the goddess of peace and she's in a sign of detriment. Would that kibosh peace in the world? I don't think necessarily it will, because we have Mercury traveling through the sign of peace treaties, the sign of Libra, and we could indeed see some breakthroughs in October regarding places in the country where there are war, and will we be able to receive peace? War and peace, they always go together. But nonetheless, Venus is gothy, very gothy in Scorpio. So I tried to find something kind of on the goth look. I've got my black leather jacket and I've got these little earrings. Oh, I love these guys. It looks like a snake from Copper to Swoo, and my favorite little gold necklace. So I'm just trying to look the part. Now, when you listen today and you're, inclined to enjoy the ride, please don't forget to like or subscribe or hit the notification bell. I'm having the every quarter subs dump from YouTube, and it seems like we're pressing a little algorithmically. So, where notifications aren't reaching people and regular subscribers have been unsubbed, etc. So just check that you're still subscribed. And that's all I would ask of you. And maybe also, if you're not subscribed, give me a try. And liking, sharing, all that kind of stuff. Thanks very much. Now, what do I think about Venus and Scorpio before we go ahead? All right, and I'll show you the sky and we move through the world stories briefly this time and your sign. Venus and Scorpio is in a sign that's connected to Mars. It's his feminine sign. It is the sign of Scorpio. And that's the watery feminine place where you find the Martian imperative for things like war and soldiers and athletes and heroes moving into another terrain. And the terrain is secretive and stealthy. And you might consider it the place where the energy becomes more three-letter agencies, where it becomes what's hidden from view, where also there is a stinging tail of a scorpion that can sting a person or a place or a thing. So Venus being the opposite, let's unite what we can do to bring something together. The places that Mars rules are what we need to do to separate things, because Mars is the god of what is separated, decided, this or that, where Venus is like, let's all come together now, kumbaya. So when she's in Scorpio, she's just not that comfortable. I kind of made a joke in my newsletter. It's like she's on her little water floaty pool toy, wondering if there's sea serpents in the pool or in the pond of the Scorpio water. And that for her, that energy would be making do. How can I make do, she says, with what I've got here? And she will look to Mars for some help. She'll ask Mars, who owns the home in which she's traveling, the Scorpio home, the 12 pie slices. This is the Scorpio pie slice of a 12 pie slice zodiac. And Mars will give her direction from Cancer, where he's also really uncomfortable and in what we call his fall. He's very emotional rather than very clear and clear-headed, but he'll try to help her out. And that's called a trine, a water trine between those two planets. And of all things, we get Saturn involved as well. And so we get this really beautiful, kind of rare water trine. And it's rare because it requires Saturn to be in the sign of Pisces, which happens once every 29 and a half years. And it requires Mars to be in Cancer, which happens every 2 years. And because Saturn only moved into Pisces really just last March, we get a quality of rareness to this gorgeous water trine, and Venus is a part of making it happen because she's the faster moving of the planets, Saturn and Mars. So let's go ahead and show you the sky so you can see what this is about as the Venus does her goth, rave, spooky, Halloweeny version of herself, instead of like the Princess Fairy, she is like the goth rave witch or something like that. If you have any ideas how to characterize a Venus and Scorpio for me, please do. I'd love to hear below what you think about Venus and Scorpio. Who are some famous people born with Venus and Scorpio? Sometimes when we look at artists and, musicians, actors, or famous people, we kind of get a vibe for what a planet could mean by looking at other people's skies, So when you think of Scorpio, think of mystery, think of things you have to uncover. That's to dig it up, research, explore, forensic, investigative energies. A lot of my clients who've been detectives or forensic type scientists investigating have Scorpio placements galore. What is hidden must be seen or discovered or hidden. So Jim Morrison of The Doors, Come On Baby, Light My Fire, kind of vibing out with some of his music. It's very Venus to Scorpio. Ozzy Osbourne, Annie Lennox back in the 80s. Sweet Dreams Are Made of These. Remember that one? But it's a darker side of like really sardonic kind of applied approach to love. Now, when it comes to fiction, there's Agatha Christie, right? The greatest female mystery novelist ever, who wrote tons and tons of mystery novels. So mystery and detective work, Agatha Christie. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, who had a heroin problem. So when I say the rave Venus, I mean, she's going to go there, right? There's also a thing I've noticed too, by the way, with people who are born with Venus and Scorpio, they can be either very like a player or very promiscuous, or they can be the opposite and be very sort of like virginal, not even that word, like celibate, or move away from sexuality altogether. It goes both ways with those Scorpio Venus folk. Charles Manson, of course, he had a cult of mostly women around him back in the 1960s. He was basically a psychopath. And who else do I have on my notes? I put in Putin. He's got Venus maybe in his first house. We do think that's his proper Scorpio rising. So Putin, of course, we all know he came from the KGB. That's how he started out before he moved into the top position in Russia. So yeah, you get the gist. Drake, I think Drake has that song, You Can Have It All. I can remember that from the past, but that reminds me of a very Venus to Scorpio, claim for what is possible. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. So Putin, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Venus and Scorpio folk. All right, just going to leave it at that. You make of it what you will. So as we go ahead, we'll look at the sky and we'll look at your story and what this might be about. Let's pull the sky up, shall we? So here we have Venus coming through in the sign of Scorpio, and I'll let that look bigger for us. 0 degrees and 55 minutes of Scorpio on the day I'm recording, which is September 23rd. So I'm a bit behind my recording schedule these days, so just bear with me. But she basically got here, if I was to time it backwards, just by the hours, probably at midnight, as the hour was transitioning, or late last night on my time zone, which is Pacific Daily Time. And I can see that she transitioned into the sign of Scorpio in my time zone around 7:44 p.m. On Sunday night. So if you depends on where you live, almost midnight in Eastern Standard Time, and would have been on the 23rd in European time. So she's here now, and I did look back to last year to make sure that as Saturn was since March in the sign of Pisces, did at any point she flow to Saturn and also flow to Mars, creating this triangle? And the answer is no. So you can, 30 years ago, Saturn was in Pisces. So this is something that could have occurred back in the day, 30 years ago, right? This is an old story becoming available again for all of us. In that sense, we might want to compare our lives to what was going on 30 years ago, because this trine that forms in the first week of October is probably what I'm going to focus on our delineation today for your sign. So I look back, and this is what I came up with. So this is a close, but not quite, but still I'm going to talk about it in terms of the ancient tradition of India, in which just being in a whole sign flow is good enough, right? So we don't have to have degree-based trines, but we have a degree-based, very exact energy coming up for us the first week of October, relatively speaking. But you can see back in the fall, September of 1994, Venus had moved into Scorpio while Mars was moving direct through the sign of Cancer. And we had, like we do now, a Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So if you want to try to compare this story to something else, go back to the fall, basically the month of September 1994, to make a comparison to what may be occurring for you in your life based on your sun, moon, or rising sign, what might be occurring right now as we move into the last week of September through to October the 17th. What vibes could be repeating patterns? I'll use me as an example when we get to that part of the chart when we talk about all signs. So we're basically saying September, and it'll take her 3 weeks to get through here. So September of 94, for sure, comparing that to now, where we have a whole sign flow between a Venus in Scorpio, a Mars in Cancer, and a Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Alrighty, so stop the share and let's go back to the big story. What we're focused on is the sky now. Venus moving here on September the 22nd, 23rd, staying in Scorpio till around the 16th or 17th or so of October. We're going to cover that for you, and we're going to break it down by your sign. And I'll just briefly touch on one thing about the world astrology, or two things. I promise, not too long. I think I got shadow banned. Off of my solar ingress video for Libra because I talked about situations to do with WAR in the ME part of the world. And so I'm really being careful right now. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please do, because there's nothing worse when a channel suddenly drops down like in its algorithm, like off a cliff, which it just did shortly after I put that video out last Thursday. And I'm like, really? Like, really? I mean, I'm just doing astrology, guys. I'm not like a political commentator, but if you use certain words, the algorithm may trigger and say, no, she's talking about situations where there's controversy. And here we have it, back to our sky. So, as I was saying, I'm not exactly back, excuse moi, because I was trying to go back and give you the old chart. Yeah. So Venus is Scorpio, and let's get her back closer to the beginning of the ingress. Now, I did give you a teaser. I know obviously this is going to affect the whole world, but she will do other great things besides trine Saturn, trine Mars, creating a great big grand trine the first week of October. She's also going to make a very nice aspect to Neptune around October 14th and 15th, while she's opposite Uranus, creating a wedge in the sky. And I might use that for the delineation. I'm not sure if I use this one for your sign or the grand trine. And then, of course, as we move towards the end of the month, or the end of her stay in Scorpio around the 16th of October, she comes into a sextile to Pluto, now direct here in the sky, and she'll do a beautiful last touchdown with the god of riches and wealth and power, and Venus, the goddess of love. So the love of power and the power of love kind of vibing out around the 16th of October. And don't forget, there's a comet coming through our solar system, Chi-Chu-Chan, whatever, Atlas or something like that. Oh, I'll get the pronunciation next time. And it's going to be closest to the Earth around the 12th, the 10th through the 12th of the month. And some astronomers are saying not visible until the 16th. So it's interesting. She may get entangled with a comet that has just left sidereal Virgo, but it'll still be in tropical Western Virgo, the sign of the Virgin. It'll be here in our sky, in our Western tropical zodiac sky, okay? It'll be in the sign of Virgo when it becomes visible and very close to the Earth. I find that fascinating. At the very same time, Venus, who is going to be up here, will be sextiling Pluto. And also because of Mercury's transit through the sign of Libra, we may see some connections here well, actually, let me rephrase that. I apologize. She's going to be going through sidereal Virgo, right? But she'll be in the late degree of sidereal Virgo, which puts her in the early degrees. She'll be closer to Spica. She might be 23 degrees of Libra, which takes us back to Virgo. So, sidereal, I'll have to wait to see what the astronomers are saying. But I believe if we're using the zodiac of the Western tropical system, which is symbolic, we're likely to see her becoming visible in the mid to late part of October, the comet, in what we would call our Libra sky. But sidereal, or the real sky, it may be in Virgo. It is in Virgo in the real sky. I think it's in the beginning of Virgo. I'm just not sure. All right, moving on. I know the comet's getting close to Spica and Arcturus, and those stars are right 23, 24 degrees of Libra. So keep that in mind. And Venus owns the Libra sky, right? That's her territory when we get into the sextile at the 16th of October. Now, back to the story. Who has strong placements in Scorpio, who gets influenced by Venus and Scorpio? Vladimir Putin. He seems to have a Scorpio rising. Venus goes through the sign of his rising sign. It actually benefits him. So in terms of peace negotiations or deals or whatever he's up to with that situation in his country, we would see him benefiting from this transit. Well, Joe Biden also has Venus in Scorpio along with his sun. It's in his 12th house of hospitals and hidden and backroom deals and secret negotiations. And so we can assume, that he's going to be doing some of or all of those things during this transit, for example, right? When it comes to countries of the world, the United States of America has a Sag rising. And that places Scorpio in its 12th house of secrets, backroom deals, negotiations, and things hidden from the public view. So, but the United States has 3-letter agencies, and they're always doing things that are secretly hidden from public view. Vladimir Putin, Nettanyahou is a Sagittarius rising, and he's got Venus going through his 12th house of secret deals, backroom deals, negotiations, self-undoing, and hidden enemies. The downside for people like Joe Biden and the leader of the nation in the Middle East, I'm afraid to use these words here for algorithmic reasons, is that it is the house of hidden enemies, and it is the house of hospitals, and it is the house of secret backroom shenanigans for both those leaders, whereas Putin is benefiting greatly from what's going on when Venus goes through his sign. Okay, that's just a general thought, right? Just a general theme. And she'll be out of Venus out of this place before the election and moving into Sagittarius, the first house of the United States of America, which is going to probably indicate, because it's also Venus's 7th house, it can go two ways. Venus can be the running mate for Kamala, which is Tim. And basically, it looks like they're doing really swell as the election approaches. We're in the countdown to November 5th. Or for the nation, it can look like a prominent female is taking center stage in the identity of America in connection to what is the buildup for an election. And so we have Venus in Sagittarius after October the 17th through the election. One of the things about that I always think about too is if Joe Biden does not make it to stay in power before the election for whatever reason and wants to step away for something like a health problem, then Kamala will be in power and will be center stage of the identity of America. So there's that too. So this Venus in Scorpio at this time of year has a lot of interesting possibilities for world astrology. Go watch my recent video that I put out on the Libra solar ingress, because it's going to tell you your future for the next 3 years. And I covered a lot more politics and world events, which probably got me in shadow BAN trouble, maybe. So go check that out, though, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And my Monday video came out with a really good story about Mars, Saturn, and a glow up here this week ahead. And go watch that too. You might catch the wave of that one. It's just literally fallen to the bottom of the algorithmic well, like someone threw that video off a cliff. When Mondays are my best video. Yeah, you get the gist. Let's go ahead and do Aries. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's talk about this for you. Venus is moving through the sign of Scorpio, which is your 8th house of people's money that's not yours, but you can get your hands on. All right. Unearned income, other people's money. Those other people can be your spouse, your business partnerships. They can be people that are connected to banks, loans, mortgages, your shareholder sharing the money in a company, royalty income, you're sharing the profits with the publishing house. So this kind of not directly earned wage like salary income is your 8th house, a tax rebate, an insurance payout. You get some money that belongs to somebody else. Now, she is a money goddess. And so she could help you here, even in her detriment, even in the sign of her exile. But there may be a cost to that chunky money. You may not prefer the way it shows up. Sometimes we get inheritances in the 8th house, for example. So there may be a bittersweet way that money can glow up for you in that chunky money house here. Secret love affairs belong to the 8th house, and you may be engaging in a secret love affair or not, but you could do that when Venus stealthy and secretive goes into this part of your sky, and she's trining Mars, which makes it sexy, sexy. And she's coming into that Mars trine more exactly on the 7th to the 9th. Where we see most of this activity that I'm delineating here is between October 7th and 9th. I will move us into the trine, though, so people can see it when we do the all signs. Hang on. There we go. That is a visible trine by Venus. There she is. Okay. I'm taking that ascendant out of there. Talk about complicating the sky. Sorry, I was looking at something else earlier. So we're going to see a trine in the sky around October the 4th, but it's playing out through till the 10th of the month as she then tightens her contact with Mars. So also Aries, the energy here for you can be something along the lines of you might want to make some changes in your home, travel from home, move from home, vacate the home, cut away from the home. This is Mars in your 4th house. He's going to be here a whole long time, right till November 4th, back again January through to April. With this energy, though, it's positive because it's flowing in a beautiful grand trine with Mars. So look for that first week of October, especially to make you feel like something is moving forward with flow, with ease, with intuitive knowing, with emotional wellness involved. Saturn is the money you make from far off foreign shores and lands, and including borderless income from digital entrepreneurship. He also has a lot to do with your own addiction, self-undoing bad habits, and certainly Venus, the goddess of pleasure, and flowing to Mars in the 4th house may help you break away from or exit and cut away from the ways in which you might undo your own well-being because of family of origin, childhood issues. And we may even use the word trauma because Mars is in a whole sign opposition to trauma Pluto in your 10th house of the father. Possibly father figure childhood stories have led you into patterns of self-undoing or habit or substance use or addictions, things like that. And you may be unwinding those during the first week of October. On a really simple note, if you're into a possible foreign shore travel, I a lot of times see Mars in the 4th house being moving, traveling away from your home country, especially if you're thinking of moving. Saturn would like you to stabilize maybe in a country other than that of your birthplace. This is a story as well, finally, that can bring a little bit of luck to matters to do with property, rental agreements, mortgages, finances, refinances, or buying and selling of real estate. And you're feeling that glow up in the first week of October through to about the 10th. And I'm just going to gently say that because I will be doing a whole weekly video on the wedge, but there could be a very interesting turnaround story, a middle of October 14th and the 15th, when Venus comes into a trine to Neptune and yet is opposite Uranus, a sort of a money surprise here, right? Like a little shock and awe that could show up in your sky regarding an unexpected financial situation. But, Uranus opposite Venus, right? He's in her territory and she's telling him what to do, even though she's feeling a little bit under the weather in Scorpio. And so she's managing him. And also Neptune is in the sign of her exaltation where she has superior power. So possibly this wedge is going to break through as some kind of financial surprise connected to digital income, financial income from far off foreign shores, or matters to do with a massive breakthrough in an addictive pattern of some sort. Look forward to seeing what happens for you. Let me know. Of course, we'll be talking about each of these things in my weekly Monday videos in much more depth, including the asteroids involved. So you definitely want to make sure that you are watching the Monday videos because those are where we really break it down in a great deal more depth for this event, which is happening on October 14th, 15th. Now we're going to move ahead and talk to all things Taurus. Oops. I have to go by hours. Give me a sec. That's fixed. And let me make sure I'm not pinned to 0 Aries, which I think I am. No, I'm in whole sign. Okay. Oh, I am pinned. Oh, software malfunction. I am sorry, guys. It's not even me, it's the software. I'm just going to make a mess of the chart. Don't even look. And then I'm going to edit the chart again and try to get it to hold the whole signs. There we go. And we're not in the right place, but we will get there. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Venus is the lord of your sign, and she's your guiding planet. She's the helmsman of your chart. If it's your sun, it's your career. She's operating to control or help you with. If it's your moon, it's your home body and life force energy and mind and emotions. But if it's your rising sign, she's literally steering the ship for you in your life. She's your most important planet. Well, every year, for about 3 weeks, she moves to Scorpio, and here she is again. And, in the beginning, I told you those dates, but I will repeat them. She'll be here from September 23rd to October 17th. This is an energy that allows for you to perhaps experience some ease or blessings in the relationships you have to a marriage partner, a significant other, a business partner, or for some of you, clients or marketplace audience type people that you cater to from your 10th house business. Basically, or work environment. So basically, this gives a nice little romantic glow up to your condition, your existing longer term love stories and marriages. However, also your partner can benefit from this. Your Scorpionic partner may find themselves having better luck, doing better, having a better glow in their own lives, and they may be experiencing this just for them. Second of all, this is legal contracts and agreements that come through the 7th house, and she can bring outcomes that are positive regarding legal matters. And she is ruled by that Mars. And during her 3-week transit, Mars is supporting legal contracts or agreements to deal with younger siblings, neighborhoods, local brick and mortar businesses and business entrepreneurship online or in a real brick and mortar environment. And there seems to be super sweet flow here with Venus to Mars about things smoothing out in that area of our lives. Travel is something she can bring, especially the first week of October in that grand trine. Travel with a marriage partner, travel for leisure with someone that is in a business partnership with you, or just travel for business or love. Getaways, basically, even if it's just a weekend getaway. The travel of Mars in the 3rd house is usually quite local, within your country at the very least, domestic travel. And you also notice that Saturn is up at the 11th house, and there may be some involvement with groups of belonging. I'm going to travel with a group, it's a group travel, and significant others are coming with you. So group travel opportunities involving a sibling, one younger or one older than you, just one above and one below, can be in the mix here, with Venus bringing a great deal of flow and ease and agreement here with those people. If you are somebody who are looking to stabilize your career gains and make them more solid because you're feeling some hardship up there with Saturn, Venus may be able to pull off a new business partnership, a new contract or agreement to stabilize your work or business situation, financial gains. Certainly with Jupiter in your 2nd house, that's not too shabby through to next June. And although you may have some financial struggle with Saturn in the 11th house of career gains itself, Jupiter is a Hail Mary pass who's trying to make sure that you are okay in the long run, which will be by next June. You will have been able to look over your shoulder and see some Jupiterian blessings in your financial resources. You are going to have a bit of a surprise shakeup, of course, sometime in the middle of October, around the 15th, when, Venus comes opposite Uranus while she flows to Neptune. It's a breakthrough because it's got the wedge in it. So Neptune holds the key to the breakthrough, but some surprising, shocking, unexpected developments can be going on in your love relationship or with a client or with your marriage type partnership. It may be the partner's surprise. It may not even be yours. They may be saying, oh my God, I got to tell you something. And you're going to be surprised by it. But with the flow to Neptune in the house of your long range goals, wishes, and dreams come true, this may be like a wedding proposal, for goodness sakes. It may be a positive surprise. So it can also involve positive surprises regarding how you see yourself in this relationship. You always thought you were just dating, and the partner goes, I think you're my main squeeze. I mean, I think we should move in together or something. So those energies can play out. In business deals and contracts, similarly, may have some positive, surprising outcomes as well. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a sky that is all about this Venus moving through Scorpio, right? All the way from September 23rd to October 17th. And this opens up doors of shift in your sixth house of work. It can mean you just enjoy the work environment a bit more. You're like liking your colleagues, coworker space, or you're liking the routine of your work a bit more, the way you do the daily routines of work. And you're creating something more enjoyable, more pleasant, more pleasurable for yourself. It's also interestingly often connected to office romance. So if you're looking for somebody, especially with Mars in a trine, which makes it sexy, that trine is around October 7th to the 9th, you could get involved in the old classic office romance. Hopefully not, but you never know. Sometimes those get complicated with a Venus-Pluto sextile coming up at the 17th or so, 16th, 17th. That's got office romance secrets all over it. But if you're single and an office romance is okay with your code of morals and if works fine, there's no power imbalance, and that could be office romances for single Geminis. Venus here is in a house of pets, and a lot of time when Venus goes here, we want to find comfort, pleasure, peace and harmony and goodness and delight in animals. And because she's in Scorpio, it speaks to me of rescues. It doesn't speak to me of getting on a breeder list. There's something about maybe a rescue animal coming your way, wanting to be more. Yeah, it just has that all over it. So you may purchase or possess or take a possession of a rescue animal or an animal. Could be you're going to buy the pet with Mars in the house of possessions, flowing to Venus in the house of pets. Now, money from your work looks good, but there's complications, right? Because Mars is bringing you into a time in which you are working hard for what you get. Your self-starter entrepreneurial energies are at an all-time high. You may burn out, right? So Mars works hard here to get you what you need, and you have to cut things away. Maybe you can't do everything all the time, all at once in your career, because Saturn in this trine, the first week of October, is saying, you have a lot of authority in your career right now, or a lot of peaking out of sort of expert success levels, but there's exhaustion. And a lot of times by the time Saturn leaves here in February of 26, the sort of grind, the perseverance, the active forbearance, and the hard work can make you feel tired. And because you might feel tired, and Mars and Saturn have been doing this the last week of September, the first week of October, because there's a fatigue that's setting in here. Sometimes people just quit their jobs or quit their careers or change their path with this 3-year transit of Saturn through the 10th house. So keep that in mind. But this week, the grind is paying off with a little bit more work enjoyment, and maybe enjoyment of someone you hire. The house of employees and people you hire as a boss is a 6th house. And you may indeed be hiring somebody and finding this is increasing your workflow and ease. I have this funny because someone just reached out to me. I'm a progressed Gemini sun, and her name is Jessie, and I'm looking into using her as having her help me as an assistant in exchange for some mentorship around astrology, because she's really deeply dove into it and is ready to set up her business, some business mentorship. So there's those sorts of things that could be very practically what I'm seeing here in my sky, as a progressed Gemini sun. No, your progressed positions are not nearly as important as your natal, but they matter. Okay. Oh, anything else? Self-undoing and addictions. I know that when Venus is an opposite Uranus, there's a little shock and a little surprise going on here. And it's very possible that you may have a massive breakthrough with some addictive self-undoing, especially in the sextile to Neptune. But also you may have a real breakthrough in your finances connected to your celebrity, so to speak, at the top of the sky. And your Neptune is your Instagram, your YouTube. Something could go viral, maybe. Uranus is something going viral and ka-chinging international viral success in revenue, for example. And Venus is over here in the workhouse. So the work story breaks through in a career, reputation, success, and YouTube is anything to do with videography platforms. That's an example. Or a breakthrough in the work and money story if you generate income from here, foreign lands and shores internationally. So that's good for you as well. That's around the 14th and 15th. We'll be doing more diving into the sky in the weeks ahead on the Monday videos. Please check those out because I cover more stars and asteroids content that I'm not doing in our overview today. Moving into the next sign. Okay. Moving into the next sign, I have to clear the drawings, which I'm trying to do. Clear all drawings. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and talk about you Cancer folk. So you don't mind Venus in Scorpio because she's flowing to you, right? It's a water trine. You're benefiting from this every time she's here, 3 weeks every year or so, unless there's a retrograde in Scorpio. She's your girl, and Venus is saying as she goes through your fifth house, are you interested in romantic love? Because if you want a new romance and she travels through the romance and love house, you are going to maybe get one. If you're in a romance already with your significant other, you may suddenly get very kinky or sexy or celibate. All of those things are possible. Venus here is in the house of your children. So when she's here for those 3 weeks, basically on September 23rd to October 17th, you're smoothing the waters out with your children or a child, and one of your children may be getting collateral benefit and they're doing well in their life, a little bit more luck coming their way, a little bit more goodness coming their way. And, you're Mars right now, right? You're Mars. And this is a money luck house, like win the lottery. Yeah. So you could win some money here, especially like mafia, right? This Scorpio, stealthy, secretive mafia type things. Go to a mafia casino and win the lottery. But here we have Mars, and you are Mars, decisive, action oriented, but maybe emotionally fraught. Going to have to deal with some really intense flares of passion and emotional intensity when this transit happens. But you have the Mars sword in your hand, or the Mars, slicing, dicing scalpel, and you're looking at what you need to get in life. So you don't mind the Mars because you're holding Mars in your character. Sun is your career, rising sign, everything about you. A moon maybe changes of home, really. But let's just look at this Mars flowing to Venus and say, what kinds of actions and decisions are you making around love, sex, romance, business partnership? I mean, entrepreneurial businesses and creative projects, because you're deciding and you're taking action. And with Venus, the goddess of the arts here, these are going to be very good business or artistic decisions, or decisions around children. Sometimes Mars is what needs to be cut. Do you need to cut a child away from what? From what? Their home, their addiction? Maybe you're intervening in a child's life. Saturn in the ninth house of God is really about your spiritual life, but also on a practical note, legal matters, publications, book publishing, academic settings. You may be making some big changes here to do with your spiritual philosophy as it relates to romance, as it relates to sexuality, as it relates to your own children. Venus is in a fertility transit for you or your children, and therefore grandchildren, where Saturn sits, can be a part of the first week of October to the 10th of October vibe, where these things are, oh my God, I'm going to be a parent or a grandparent, or my partner is pregnant. Also, if you're in the book publishing industry and Saturn's up there, or any kind of publications, you might be having some really lucky breaks and some really good flow in that week of the whole first week of October through to about the 10th. And, Venus then comes opposite Uranus and creates a little bit of a problem area here. It's kind of like it could just be bad, but then it flows to Neptune in a wedge. Bottom line, a surprise that has to do with maybe money, luck, and wealth. Could come from a friend, ally, benefactor, elder sibling. And this comes all through Neptunian activities or stuff. Do you have a sibling who could give you money suddenly? Do you have some kind of foreign land opportunity for travel connected to leisure with a sibling or a friend that sort of surprises you in a positive way, especially travel to places with sea and ocean? And Algol, where Uranus sits retrograde, is a well star. So again, the 11th house is pennies from heaven. Money, luck, and good fortune is a fifth. So you may have a bolt of money luck coming your way you didn't see coming. And Neptune says it's kind of dreamy and it's kind of yay, and it could propel you for some reason into ninth house stories like foreign shore travel, visas, passports, an opportunity to perform or speak in front of a large crowd of people, academic crowd or something, being asked to be on someone's podcast or YouTube channel. It could be the kind of breakthrough we're seeing here as well. Don't forget, in my Monday videos, I will be doing the more asteroid stars and deeper dive into all of these great Venus stories as she moves to Scorpio. So don't forget to try liking, subscribing, and putting that notification bell on. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let me take a sip of my water. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Venus is moving, actually does on the yearly, through your fourth house, Scorpio land, and she'll be there September 23rd to October 17th. Now, when she's moving in this part of the sky, she is always going to help you decorate your home or beautify your home or find joy and play and fun and stealthy secret sex in the home. She's going to goth out, put the rave music on, and you're going to get a tattoo at home. I don't know, but you're doing the thing you want to do in the home. And a friend may visit you in the home, and you have more fun and joy in the home. And as I said, a lot of redecoration can happen and redesigning of your home, including painting the walls or getting, things fixed up in the home to make them more beautiful. That story is also accompanied by a rare earth trine, water trine. And so it happened half-assed in 1994. I did mention this in the beginning of my video, right? September of 94, but it's back again. So the first 10 days of October, you're feeling this beautiful trine. Yes, you are. Sorry, neck. As Venus is flowing here to Mars and to Saturn. Ultimately, Venus could say something like, something to do with tax money, insurance money, banks and mortgages, home, property, and real estate is going to be very flowy and very lucky during the first 10 days of October. And with Mars here, it also indicates something to do with foreign people, foreign lands, and foreign shores. Now, these are all very deep houses, and if you have to break away from self-sabotaging habits, patterns, or addictions, this is good for that too. And childhood matters, childhood memories, people from your childhood may be involved in the story of the first 10 days of October. Venus is the ruler of your generic house of siblings, and there may be some contact, visitations, or more intimacy with a sibling during the first 10 days of October. You might want to say with Saturn in your eighth house, you're being very cautious and conservative about your long range monies, the investment monies for your retirement, the money in the markets, the money you hold in property before it's sold. And yet with Venus here, there is a temptation perhaps to extricate some of that money and spend on something for your home. So you might go dig into your long-term, investment retirement monies and spend money for something to do with home, property, and real estate. I mean, when she finally becomes opposite Uranus here around the 14th and 15th of October, and yet at the same time flows to Neptune, the wedge is forming. It looks like there's a bit of a surprise connected to career and reputation and what you're doing in and from the home that lends itself to some dreamy, chunky money outcomes, right? Money that comes to you without like a daily paycheck, basically, or weekly paycheck. Dreamy outcomes there in that regard. A surprise in the 10th house, it's something that's happening in the public view for you. It's something that's connected to your outer actions and what you call your purpose and work, but connected to things that are happening in and from the home. So there's this jolt. It's a surprise. What is it? It should be good. It should be pretty good. And Neptune is like, Saturn says, I've got to be realistic. And Neptune says, I have lots of fantasies and dreams. And how you make some of the money fantasies and dreams come true here, right? In the long range investments and monies that you have, the chunky money story. Inheritance is included here. But it's not the most inheritance-y story I've ever seen. So it's more like, where does this chunky money come from? And also, could you get money because you are making money with an international revenue type of business or source of money? That could also look like what we're seeing in the sky here as well. Alrighty. So let's keep on going and let me know what happens during that first 10 days of the month of October. And then, of course, mid-October for the surprise. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It's a sky that opens up the Venus narrative in Gothy Scorpio between September 23rd, October 17th. And now this is a story that brings a rare grand trine, not seen since September of 1994 and not nearly as tight. So energy-wise, what is it you might be creating here in lucky, flowing, and easy ways to do in the first 10 days of October? Never mind that eclipse. We have a separate video for that. To do with things scorpionic in your third house. Now, third house is learning, and you might want to study something at this time of year, learn a skill or a trade, tarot cards or occult mysteries or some kind of, tattoo parlor stories. I mean, I would say Venus here is go visit the tattoo parlor during this transit, but also you just visit places in your town that bring you great joy, bars, restaurants, and stuff, and fun and pleasure. But also you might want to learn something occult or mysterious or paranormal, or you might want to travel. Now, travel with Venus is always for fun, maybe with women, maybe with siblings who are female, but this can indicate a time for travel and local getaways. With the trine activating Saturn in the house of significant others, your main squeeze. Yes, absolutely. You could be getting away for a weekend love getaway with the one you're with sometime in the first 10 days of October. Mars is in the house of all your social groups and networks and friends. Now that he's going to separate you from some friends over the next, month, because people do move away maybe, or some distance for some reason, some time away from some friends. But these are also groups that you belong to in larger social networks. And so ultimately you may be involving yourself in some kind of travel that also involves going somewhere with a group of friends, traveling with a group, not just your significant other. If you have you're trying to level up in your career, right, till next June. This is so good for career success until next June. And the gains of the 10th are here, and that's Mars. I mean, I know you're working hard, right? You're on a driven path to succeed in your career. But also, could this also look like a sky from Venus that says professional travel opportunities as well, going to a conference, going to a seminar, or learning something in the work professional endeavors that's going to help you increase your success in your career. And an elder sibling one above you and a sibling one below you, houses 3 and 11, may feature strongly in a positive way in the events that are going on in your life in the first 10 days of October. Possibly as well, if we look at the opposition to Uranus that she'll form around the 14th and 15th of October here, right? There is a surprise connected to neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings, younger siblings, and matters to do with Uranus, academics, foreign countries, foreign shores, foreign land travel, visas. And then Neptune gets in on it, and your long-range committed love partner. So you're either traveling for business partnership or love partners, or your love partner surprises you with a trip, or your love partner surprises you with stories to do with the possibility of moving to another country. Because I don't know, there's just something about it. It feels like that could be a story here. Finally, sudden, surprising, positive outcomes regarding legal contracts and or court and legal matters. Okay, because Neptune is like realistic when he's retrograde. He's not all dreamy, doe-eyed. And it could be also things to do with your partner, like they're going to break through in a legal matter or a matter that's been difficult for them, or they're having some more dream realizations regarding foreign shores and lands. And again, even to do with their own life. Potentially they want to move or can move for professional reasons. And you're asking yourself if you want to do a move to a foreign country. It does benefit your long-term love story. So on the 13th and 14th, long-term love relationships have some surprising, dramatic turnabouts towards some better outcomes in that relationship. And if you're single, could you meet somebody under this? Yes, certainly. And you'd be traveling or learning, and you could get a kind of soulmatey kind of vibe with a Venus Neptune trine, meeting someone new. So online dating apps are the third house where Venus is traveling, as well as just going to bars and restaurants and hanging with friends and meeting people. And that's really good for you guys. If you're single Virgos, you can find someone and a kind of dreamy soulmate vibe in the first half of October. I'll be breaking this down in a lot more detail. You want to like and subscribe. Why? Because if you like and subscribe, you're going to get more content. I didn't even advertise my Sky Reader class, which is still open for last minute enrollment through till Friday. Yeah. I'm still discombobulated by the YouTube massive dump of my subscribers. And yes, sure, they're bots, but then you ask people and they check it out and they're unsubbed. Let alone the algorithmic suppression of a Monday video. Eek. I'm telling you guys, it's like when it happens, you're like, what the hell? I normally have 650 to 780 or 800 people on a Monday premiere, and I barely made it to 500 just over 500. And that's a suppression, algorithmic suppression of the notifications feature, probably. All righty, enough complaining. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a sky that is important. Venus is a ruling planet for you. You must pay attention to what she does. And she is moving through the sign of Scorpio every year. And here she is between September 23rd and October 17th, giving you more pleasure about what you eat, more spending for what you desire, more charm and physical facial appearance, looking good, charming speech, and, beautifying your face and your teeth. That will be, even hair can count. It's the facial features of your body, the face, the hair frames the face. And so you could be really going for more beauty treatments during this time. And I would argue that Libras are probably more prone to being willing to do cosmetic procedures on their face, because Venus is in the sign of scalpels and cutting, which is Mars. So you guys, maybe if someone took a survey, Libras get more dermabrasion and facial rejuvenation and Botox than any other sign. I bet you'd find that's true. I bet you'd find it's true. But not all Libras, of course. That would be generic, but just saying. When she's going through the second house, she's in a flow to Mars in your 10th and a flow to Saturn in your 6th house. All I can say is it's money, work, and career are the houses glowing up. Material resources are in a glow up. There's some cost. You may feel heavy burdened in the work. You may be feeling burned out from all the energy you're putting into your career, but Venus wants to drop some money your way. So you could get some resourceful financial glow up for you in the first 10 days of the month of October. My All Signs videos are out. Go watch for more detail for October. Yeah, this is a vibe as well, that when it comes to pleasure, which Venus wants you to have, she's willing to give it to you, right? She's willing to give it to you, but she also can't extricate herself here from the fact that she's getting bossed around by Mars, the owner of Scorpio, from the 10th house. So there may be some real intensity here. It could look like some commanding decisions need to be made around your work in order to find more of a pace regarding the health of the house of your health. This is certainly ideal for you tempering your pleasures orally, because that's what this is, with Saturn constraining it for better health. So better health outcomes because you constrain your pleasures and you go on some kind of cleaner eating pattern or something like that. Very possible for you in this transit. The Grand Trine, which is again goes back to 1994 September, it's that rare. You kind of feel maybe like things are moving without your effort. Like it's more flow, it's water. You're still working hard, you're still responsible and dutiful, you're still taking care of your employees if you have them, Saturn in the 6th house, and you're doing what you need, or the people under you if you're in a management position. You're doing what you need to get things done. But I will give you a warning. I mean, Mars up here for so long to November 4th, back again January to April, can propel you to want to quit your job, or you may even get fired. So be careful you do not burn out. You guys are the most likely to do that with the sky. Then we see that she comes into an oppositional energy to Uranus here, and that happens around the 14th, 15th. That energy is tense and surprising. It's a financial shock or surprise of some kind, okay? You didn't expect it. Chunky money, inheritances, insurance payouts, money from your investments in the markets. Normally, I'd be more worried about it feeling negative, but we also want to remember that there's a wedge, they both, Uranus and Neptune, are in a sextile, and Venus creates a flowing wedge to Neptune. So it looks like it's work or debt related. And with Pluto in the 4th house, I won't rule out inheritances, right? And legacy wealth. So inheritances, legacy wealth surprises, maybe from father figures with Jupiter in the 9th. Unexpected ways you're able to pay down a debt, pay down a mortgage. This could also look like an unexpected opportunity to purchase or sell a home, but also to rent a property with Neptune in the house of rentals. And it may be very good on your finances, the way this all flows out, good on your finances for a sudden, surprising, shocking mid-October rental opportunity as a landlord or as a tenant. Okay, those are some options there. I hope you enjoy the ride of the Scorpio Venus story. Let me know how it goes in the comments. I'd like to hear how this unfolded for you. I actually read my comments. I try to read almost all of them, believe it or not. All right, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and I don't delete comments. Even when people are trolling, people say, you delete my comment. No, YouTube does that. I don't do that. Hmm. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Of course, this is yours to lose or keep. This is the Putin thing. Yeah, he's a Scorpio rising. He has Venus and Scorpio at birth. How are you feeling? Because you should feel better about life. You might feel more beautiful, likable, and lovable, charming and persuasive, and people like you more. You're very Mr. Congeniality. It's always a great transit for you. You can buy a new wardrobe, fix up your appearance, and you just feel good in your own skin. And so go for it. It's your turn. So this is between September 23rd and October 17th, you like you. And you might reassess your values and what you value and what you really desire in life as well. And Venus in this position is flowing in a grand trine in the first 10 days of October to Saturn here. And I don't mind this at all for you because this is really stabilizing for you in something that may have to do with romance. You could stabilize long-term sexual romantic love stories or I say long-term because Saturn represents something going the distance. You could have very stabilizing relationships with your children who have felt somewhat burdensome lately, but less so as this glow up happens in the first 10 days and of October. And of course, Mars up here. Now, you last saw something like it in the fall, September of 1994. So it's kind of nice to see it again. And what can you do with it? What can you use it for? Well, one thing you can use it for is you can really allow for this to open up your meaning of life quotient, because this is the Dharma houses. And you may be investigating your values, what you really want, what the meaning of your life is, how you want to approach life, to be in a more qualified true north compass drive. What's my true north? Are you an artist? Because Venus is flowing to the house of the creative projects the artists do. And Saturn is about giving something form and giving it with Neptune really a great outcome. This is ideal for somebody working on a long range artistic project or creative endeavor, and having an amazing activation of the house of book publishing, publications, serial podcasting. You hit the publish button on your podcast, or something to do with international success in some creative endeavor. Thank you, Venus, Saturn, and Mars. You may also go on trips with this, no doubt about it. We've got Pluto, by the way, hanging out in a travel house. We'll be sextiling Venus around the 17th. And so travel, we see travel all over the place here. It looks like you may be traveling. So you may have some opportunity for long distance or short distance travel emerging in October, anytime between, most likely, I'd say, the October 7th through to the 15th. Finally, it's all about ease. It's about flow. It's about water. It's about intuitive movement forward. You're making decisions based on your gut. You're making decisions up here based on things to do with intuition. There are decisions you could make about going back to university or school, because your natural talents and gifts can come from the fifth house. And you may decide you're going to apply, enroll, or re-educate yourself to learn more how to use these natural gifts and talents you creatively have. Right? As Venus moves through Scorpio, you're thinking about your inner artist, your inner creative. There is a shocking energetic, of course, as Venus will come into the very last degree of Scorpio and oppose Uranus in the house of your marriage partnerships, business partnerships, etc., but also trine Neptune. Okay, for one thing, something can go viral, like literally a creative project can go viral, especially if it involves videography platforms. You will have a viral opportunity here if you're in that kind of field of endeavor around the time of this October 14th, 15th wedge, but also some shocking surprises coming from the one you love, your significant other. It can be positive. It might be that she's pregnant, or it could be that they had a positive breakthrough in their own lives, in their own creativity, in their own entrepreneurial endeavors. Because Uranus is the shocking surprise coming from the house of your significant other, because Venus is a fertility goddess, sperm and ovum traveling through your first house. It's mostly true, by the way, for anyone who's a Scorpio moon or ascendant. This could be a big breakthrough in the middle of October around a surprise about you're pregnant, your partner's pregnant, or you're going to be a grandparent with Mars in the house of grandchildren. All right. So that's what I got for you. I hope that's useful. Let me know how it goes. To read my comments. I'd love to hear, after this time has passed, how did it play out? Come back and tell me in the comments. Thanks. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky is telling you that you are elevating your Venus story to the spiritual house. Every year, she spends 3 weeks in the Moksha Liberation House. It's good for finding spiritual teachers and guides. It's also good for doing creative projects at home, alone, in your downtime when no one's looking, bed pleasures and pleasure in your down alone solitude, solace and pleasure in aloneness. September 23rd to the October 17th, creative, artistic, and writers retreats, artist retreats. Those are very Venus in the 12th house. And if you are trying to work with addictions and self-undoing, she might be helping you by giving you some guidance or making it worse. All right. She is in a trine, of course, flowing here during the first whole 10 days or so of the month of October to Mars in the chunky money house and Saturn in the real estate and property and home. Now, you might be working hard at home alone to get some creative project done, especially if you think it's going to net you some financial chunky money, like a book, and then it gets royalties later. But also, this can be indications of a time in which there's some kind of breakthrough regarding hospitals, elders in the family of origin. So there may be some turning points towards their departing after a time of physical travail for a female, maybe elder in your family of origin. Grandma, great grandma, great aunt, uncle, and aunts and stuff. Well, likely female in this sky, actually. And also the energy says maybe you might want to buy or sell a home because Mars is turning up the mortgage in the finance house and Saturn's in the house of real estate. And in this case, it would be a dream home, a forever home. You sell your forever home. With Uranus here getting kicked into the mix and Venus opposing Uranus, you may want to suddenly and surprisingly rent a new property as a landlord or a tenant. You may lease it out. Surprise, I'm leasing out my dream home. Surprise, I'm going to rent a new home as a tenant. This is a story that looks very much like what can happen for a lot of you. And if you want to pay off a debt or been struggling with some kind of mortgage or credit card debt, there may be some surprising ways that you didn't expect, in which you're suddenly allowed to or able to by the sky in a flowing, intuitive, but surprising and shocking way, release the debt. Finally, the wedge could bring you a pet. And if it does, maybe it's a rescue, maybe from a far off foreign shore, a Chihuahua from Mexico. It looks like you could get dream pet surprises coming your way around the 14th and 15th. Now, I break it down with asteroids in much more detail about, how this involves the eclipse and stuff in my Monday videos that come out each Monday. Go back and look at this week's Monday video about the Mars trine Saturn and check it out, because those are the videos where you can get more detail about this. We're just covering the overview, of course, of Venus moving through Scorpio. Let's move our sky into Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky is saying to you that you have the Venus transit September 23rd to October 17th. Every year it happens around the same time. This is your 11th house of good spirit. This is where you have groups of friendships, your dreams and wishes that you want to achieve in life. It's where you have clubs that you belong to. It's where you have the gains directly of reputation, celebrity, or greater financial gain directly coming off your 10th house. So here we would say your money and your career are looking good, right? Especially with the sun up here and Mercury in dignity. Quite possibly you're going to get a raise or a promotion or a performance bonus or something good like that in the workplace in those 3 weeks. You may also be more sociable with your colleagues and coworkers and having more fun in general with your friends and doing things and going places and joining groups or doing things with the groups like the book club or whatever that you belong to. It's good for micro celebrity if you want to suddenly lift up and be more noticed in the sky and be more celebrity out. That's good for that too, for you. But this is a grand a water trine we haven't seen since September of 1994, and certainly not this tight. And so this is what we really notice. And it's kind of like Venus is saying, wow, during the first 10 days of the month of October, what are you trying to do here to glow up your long-term love story? If you're single, this is meeting someone new. A lot of passion here. Time to go on a date or 2 or 3. Online dating, 3rd house. Local dating, 3rd house. So dating can power up a new love story. It's got a lot of sexy and deep spiritual energy. It's all very Scorpio, or very intuitive and very empathic and emotional and flowing. But if you're already with someone, it can also look like you're going to spend more social time with the person you're with. your long-term mate, and it may connect to travel. This is where you take a trip to someplace Saturn retrograde you've been before, but also that may involve seashore and rocks, and or just a sense of, I'm going to travel to a place where we can be quietly in solitude together, isolation together. So for long-term love relationship people, this can be an opportunity to travel with the one you're with and have more fun and do more social things together as you are traveling. And normally the travel would be short distance. It's not like you're going off to Siberia. It's likely a getaway somewhat local to where you are living as a couple. And maybe your partner's traveling, and if they are, it's to bring more financial wellness into the life of your partner, and that could be them traveling in the first 10 days of October. Now, what happens, though, is that Venus does get entangled opposite Uranus around the 14th and 15th from late Scorpio. Well, she forms a wedge to Neptune. Now, there's a dreamy outcome with Neptune because it is about the breakthrough point of the wedge, Neptune. This wedge might say unexpected developments in the lives of your children, your romantic love partner, or your own romantic love, sexual like stories, your entrepreneurial business and your creative projects have a sudden, shocking, surprising breakthrough connected to Neptune in the house of writing. So, for example, this would be great to find out a writing project got accepted by a publisher or agent or editor, just turned back the copy and said it's perfect as is, and you didn't expect that. Be very, very surprising and positive as well for unexpected developments to do with unexpected leisure travel, unexpected developments to do with an elder sibling or friendship circles. But it all comes back to Neptune. And Neptune is like, okay, and it's a dreamy dream come true with a backbone to it. Third house, unexpected opportunities for an entrepreneurial and business to succeed in a writing project, to go traveling, to learn something new. We learn things in the third house of skills-based education. An opportunity from an elder sibling, one above you, or a friend that surprises you, that connects to travel, for example, or learning, or writing, or publishing, maybe. Okay. Take it as it is. It's the best I got for you. And don't forget, Venus will ultimately snuggle up to Pluto. What a beautiful little wealth yoga in the house of great career gains. Look for a little bit of a wealth delight for you around October 16th, 17th. And we'll dive more into that as time progresses. I mean, as we do the monthly week aheads, the week aheads. I'm going fast because I have one of my Monday priority time clients in a few minutes, in 15 minutes, and I want to be ready for her or him. All right. So October is a month for Aquarius, as I am rising. I am one of you. We see this month opening up with this great energy. Starting September 23rd to October 17th, of Venus in a beautiful trine eventually to the top of your sky. Let's go through this. Venus last was in the top of your sky in 1994, right up here at the top of the heavens, September, forming this kind of flow energy for you. I believe that's when I moved to Annapolis, Maryland, and I started my psychic readings business. I'm 90% sure that's exactly when that happened. So, and I did psychic readings and talked to the dead for 8 years or so. So that would dovetail with me changing careers in a very new, intuitive way, right? So so I'm just trying to remember for myself to give you an example, right? All right. Whew. All right. So Venus at the top of the sky. You like your work likes you. You will be more popular in what you do, more appealing to the public. You will have friends and be friendly with the people you work with. You will have maybe an office romance if you're up for that, especially with Mars in the 6th house. If you're single and want an office romance, great. September 23rd to October 17th, collegiate, colleague, coworker, boss, I don't care, romances. Venus up here is good for your finances, connected to career. Anything you're doing in your career can be more lucrative, but in a stable, lasting way. Venus is flowing to Saturn, who is stabilizing your long-term gains in your money and work story. And Mars is saying you're working hard. He's in his joy here, the house of success of his joy. But this is where the burnout is deburning out. You're cooling some burnout with some cooling waters, especially starting October 2nd to October 10th, when this trine is really active. So it's almost like you kind of found a cool down shower and things are flowing and things are moving forward successfully. Saturn is about stable structures for long-term financial gain. Venus is saying, Let's delight in the money. Let's delight in the reputation. Let's delight in the work we're doing here. Mars is like, Mars is working hard, but he's in a house of pets. So you never know. You may make your decision to get a pet and possess a pet. That could happen. Ultimately, this is good for health and curtailing the foods you eat that are bad for your health. This is good for starting a new workout routine that works easily with your work schedule and stabilizes your health matters, especially helps constrict the foods you should not be eating and the substance you should not be ingesting through your face. Those are also supported by this trine. But then we notice that Venus will come into, excuse me, guys, I'm just talking all day. Venus will come into an opposition to Uranus, and that is going to be a surprise to do with career, home, and money. Now, let me just say, Uranus is the internet. And so something could go viral, something you're putting into the marketplace or something you're putting into the visible sky could go viral around the 13th, 14th of October, or you're just doing really well when there's some surprising, shocking changes regarding your home, but you're not minding it because of the Neptune wedge. So, for example, a sudden surprising change regarding home and finances, it benefits you. And you could spend money on a new home or spend money renting a new home because Mars is in the house of rentals and Uranus is in the house of the home. A surprising, delightful new rental opportunity, or if you're a landlord, a surprising new development where you can find your perfect tenant, right? Surprising developments, though, regarding 4th house, 10th house matters, indicate surprises from the career house and the home life at the same time. It's quite the like high noon and midnight sky combination, and it gels in the 2nd house of the money you possess and the resources you possess. I mean, it can be as simple as a sudden surprising purchase of a new piece of equipment, Uranus, for your business. But the surprise is where it makes it interesting, right? What is it? Why is it a surprise? You know, did like someone gift you like the most fancy possible laptop or microphone possible or whatever you need for your work? Huh. But it can indicate changes of home that surprise you as well, but work better for your resources and better for your career path. So those stories are possible. And ultimately, Venus does love up, Pluto, indicating possible, real significant, surprising career gains around the 16th, 17th of the month, especially if you make money from far off foreign shores, international revenue. All right. We'll be breaking that down in a weekly video. Stay tuned for that on the Monday video when that week arises. And then last and never least, but best and always best, are Pisceans. This is Venus. You love it. She flows to you. It's Scorpio water to your Pisces water. And she does a September 23rd to October 17th, make you feel good about life, feel meaning of life, maybe invite you to travel far off foreign shores or to enroll in some long-term learning program, or to feel really connected to a spiritual teacher who is a female or a spiritual path that's very feminine. These are things that go on, but this is a house of grandchildren and Mars is in the house of children. And you may find out you're going to be a grandparent during this first 10 days of October. There's also the energy here with this grand trine of Saturn. You are serious, you are stable, you are responsible, you are sober-minded, and you look up at Venus and you know that this is the right trip for you, or you know how to handle this legal or court situation, or you know how to handle the grandchild or the news of grandchildren. You might also look to Mars and go, are you separating from a child? Now that's okay. If a child lives at home and it's time for them to move out, for example, this can be that story. They're going off to university, for example. Or with Mars down here, you may be getting involved in a passionate new romance for you singletons through the mechanism of foreign lands, foreign shores, and travel, or spiritual community. And this can be very passionate and very exciting, but very intuitive and very emotionally connected. New love. If you're already with someone, it just takes on some of those flavors. A romantic getaway with the one I love, that kind of thing. Leisure travel, like romantic getaways, far off foreign shores. These are themes of October for you. Go for the first 10 days for what I'm discussing. But then later on, Venus is going to move into an opposition to Uranus, which in its own may not be so pleasant, but it does flow to Neptune in a wedge. Therefore, some surprise that you didn't see coming from a younger sibling, neighbors, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, or a sibling, two siblings older than you. These are the houses 9 and 3, may emerge in a shocking, surprising way, but it all comes home to helping you realize some of your long range goals and dreams. For all of you, Pisces are in the same boat. You are becoming realistic, and you're also making the fantastical become real. And some of your visions and dreams for your life are becoming real between now and early 2026. You may have to shoulder some responsibility for somebody younger than you, like a younger sibling or a distant relative, but also it also lends itself to a way for you to realize some long range dreams and goals. I don't know, some of you may decide to learn or be accepted to your favorite school, college, campus, university setting, and you're shocked that you got the dream acceptance letter. That would be it. Or you suddenly hear in a surprising, unexpected, random way about a new career opportunity, or no, new work opportunity, no, new school opportunity. Venus and Scorpio in the ninth house. Do you want to become a detective? Do you want to become an artist of some kind, in some kind of avant-garde art? And you've got opportunities for study that surprise you. You're able to enroll in something or learn something. Mars does like to travel, and he is in the house of leisure travel because it's fun, and he does flow to Uranus. So it's possible unexpected leisure travel opportunity emerges for you. Yay, me. And again, it can connect to sibling stories as well. And don't forget, Venus will snuggle up to Pluto here at like the 16th, 17th. And that's also a sweet touch in which travel and foreign shores and foreign lands connect you to a sibling, again, one older than you, or also a great generosity of wealth coming your way through a sibling, one older than you. Who knows, right? Maybe they just want to gift you money for a trip. They're going to pay for your ticket or something. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, everybody, you want to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell and help this channel get out of the timeout corner that I think YouTube might have stuck me into. These are earrings by Coppertist Woo. Go Google the name Coppertist Woo, W-U. Coppertist, like it sounds, copper. And I love his jewelry, and I promoted him last year. This is not official promotion by any means. It's just that I love the way his jewelry looks. So go check him out on Instagram and YouTube, or wherever else he has his stuff out there. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Okay, help me. I'm in the timeout corner. Bye. Sky Reader still can enroll by midnight on the 27th, and we start class on the 28th of September.